I'm that girl who is going to take accountability of all of my choices and decisions, and it empowers me to grow and to explore and to be able to honor myself in a really deep way. And if I can honor myself and forgive myself and have full self-acceptance, I can then give that affordability to others as well. And so I'm not sitting there in my judgmental position. I can actually see exactly where they're at and respect their journey. So anyway, it's interesting what they're wanting me to share with you today. So relax, enjoy yourself, have a cup of water, or this is my my cup of coffee. I have no problems with caffeine. I don't drink too much of it, probably one, maybe 2 cups max, and it's usually first thing in the morning. And so this is what they're actually wanting to talk about. So it's about our tools and our assumptions of things that we kind of give our power to them. So give me a second. So I have sort of not shared with you my own personal tools because I'm not trying to sell shit to you. I'm not trying to encourage you to have certain things to give you the illusion that then you can connect in with your teams if you buy this product or this t-shirt or whatever. And I want to install and remind you and empower you all to know that with your mindsets, with your choices, with your mindsets, you can do everything that you can see me doing. So let's talk about crystals. I got this designed for me. I got these 2 stones individually and I just love them. And for whatever reason, I wanted them in this format. And so it was a woman in New Zealand who sort of did this crochet for it. And I just sort of love it. And I've got some of her little bracelet things as well with some sort of crystals in them. Now, we all know we can research about the properties of crystals and the powers of crystals, and they are truly, they do have those properties and those capabilities if we sort of accept them and allow them. So lots of people have beautiful crystals for ornaments, and that's fine. They can be ornaments, but they're there to be of service. And so if we want to use our crystals, we can definitely do that if we know how. And so many people just think, well, you're just sitting there in the corner of my house, you're doing fine, I won't dust you, I'll look at you, and you just do your thing. And it's kind of like we have to use our free will to be able to get it to do the things we need them to do. And so I kind of liken the crystals, from my understanding from sessions, is that crystals are programmable and they are open storage containers for energy. And so while they have their own natural energy, you actually are supposed to sort of like not open them up and pop lots of energy in them to store it. And they kind of are like batteries. So kind of, you may have heard me say about them being like memory sticks. You know how with computers, we used to have like these tiny little bits of memory sticks that would probably hold like 3 files and maybe a photo way back when. It might even be like on a floppy disk. And then, yes, I'm that old. And then, now moving forward, we've got these, USB sticks, which have got, terabytes. I'm not even going to pretend to be computer savvy. I'm not. So, all of these different capacities of storage sizes for these memory sticks. And I feel that what they were trying to say to me when I was trying to understand how crystals worked was that each crystal has a certain scope and a certain storage range, and sort of they can work with certain frequencies. So the intention is to sit with crystals and to be able to call in and bring in the energy that you're wanting and keep them in these crystals, and for them to contain this energy frequency that you have stored within them. And then you are able to know that these are little energy battery powerhouses that you have around the house. Many people think that the crystals just come with this energy. It's kind of like, yeah, you buy a memory stick and it has the capacity to do it, but it's almost like when you sort of think that a crystal is going to just do its magic, you buy it from a store and you sit it there and it's just going to do fantastic things for you. It's kind of like you've just bought a second-hand memory stick and you don't quite know what's been in that memory stick, what other energy has been in there. So think about how it's been harvested, how it was shipped, how it was stored, how it was sat in a store and may have got lots of other people's different energies. And now it's in your home, still having that memory. And so this is why people sort of say, let's clear the crystals, let's clear the energy fields, let's do lots of ritual things for them and wash them and put them out in the moonlight and a whole lot of other sort of stuff. And we can be drawn to certain crystals as our favorites, and there's something about it. Usually it's kind of like the color or the feel of it that feels good. So I don't quite know why they're wanting me to mansplain this. So anyway, so it's whatever we really want to put into them. So if we don't add anything into those storage sticks, they're just there waiting with anticipation to be of service. And so they are tools. And we can just use them as ornaments, or we can empower them to be able to empower ourselves. And so whatever you believe is the right, whatever you believe, it manifests, right? So if you think, oh, well, I bought this special crystal from a really special place and someone said it's got, capabilities of X, Y, and Z, then you are putting and setting those intentions into the crystals. Now, can you create that energy, that situation, that power just by thought alone? That's sort of questionable, isn't it? Because it has to come from somewhere. You can't just sort of imagine that those files would be in that memory stick. You actually have to physically, pop in those files into that storage system for them to be there. I mean, how many times we try to find files and memory sticks and we can't find them, and we assume that they were there, and we're pretty much sure that we did do it. But, regardless of how much we manifest the files physically in that store, or in that memory stick, we actually physically have to do it. So, I do love the power of the mindset of manifesting things, definitely. But sometimes trying to just will good things to happen actually doesn't truly create what you're hoping and needing and desiring for it. So there is sort of work to do with them, and some people are really good and really intuitive in calling in the energy and putting it into those crystals and making them really powerhouses. So I'm not saying don't use them, but understand how to use them and sort of sit with them and ask. Quite a few times in sessions, I've asked clients, especially when I'm in their home and they're surrounded with heaps of crystals, and I sort of ask the subconscious, like, does any of these crystals have any information for my client? And some of them, one of them, just thinking recently, so to give you an exact example, one of the clients, her rose quartz said, oh, I have a message. Yes, I need to go into the garden because I've got a crack in my surface or within my structure, and it's like a dark density, and I'm not of service here, and I need to get outside because it's like the crystal was uncomfortable because it was picking up more and more negative energy from my clients. And so it needed to just be outside and kind of ground itself and kind of just be away and off from service. So, that's a really important mindful thing to have, even though they're beautiful and we love them and all this sort of stuff, they have their own consciousnesses as well. And so if we don't even know that and respect that and talk to them and find out what's the best for them, it's kind of like plants. We've got to look after them and feed them and grow them. And I think I like that analogy the best. So anyway, while I wear them as pretty things, I haven't actually really done anything with them. I did have the mindset that if they were going to hold my upliftment and hold my energy and help me to be empowered, then I would love that. And maybe I should just sort of, actually sit with them and actually program them myself. But I trust that I'm always protected. So I don't even just think about that as a worry. I don't ask for protection. I may have probably asked for protection when I was starting to go into this work, because I didn't quite understand how protected I was and how protected you are as well. But if we keep thinking, oh, vulnerable, I'm going to find density, I'm going to find entities, I'm going to find this, listen to what you're saying. So to yourself. So just, it's about catching what our belief systems are, catching what we're saying to ourselves, and catching what we're thinking, because sometimes that is when we call and draw upon those sort of things. So that's what I wanted to say about that. And also for people who are holding on to lots of trinkets, I definitely used to do this when I was little. If I'd go to the park, I would find like a pretty rock or a pretty shell or something, and I wanted to bring it home and put it on my dresser. And I wanted to, when I looked at my dresser, it was kind of like a little shrine to the good days I had and the fun things we experienced and explored. And I really like to keep those memories close to me and remind me, daily about all these fun times and all these experiences. And I think that when we're trying to hold on to memories of good times, we're really sort of reluctant often to kind of expand into new experiences. And I can only speak for myself, so I'm not too sure. It's almost like they're just sort of saying, check if you have anything that you see in your surroundings that brings you down. Oh gosh, I can hear that woman now. I didn't watch the program, but she was organized. She was talking about decluttering, and her mantra was, if it brings you joy, if it doesn't bring you joy, get it out of the house. If it gives you joy, then it deserves to be in your space. And so for whatever reason, they're just lovingly trying to remind you through me that we're responsible for what is in our surroundings, and why we don't really indulge our toxic friends as much, because we want balance and neutrality in our life, and we want to respect our times and services. And sometimes we don't give them endless amounts of our energy because that they're not willing to grow. And so while we can respect their choices, we can respect ourselves and our time and our energy also more. So that's part of being loving to self. So don't think that you have to merge yourself in with all of your toxic friends to be of service when you're then not being an honoring service of self. I know it's a tricky balance, and I know so many beautiful people who are just true gifts to humanity, constantly worrying that they're not being of service, and they plummet their love of self because they're constantly marinating themselves in these very dense, very, very restricted and refusing to grow people. And we can still love them, and we can still support them without indulging in their own indulgences of keeping in fear and worry and doubt, especially when they're looping. We can talk to them and listen to them forever and a day, because they're never going to get out of it, even when we give them these little seeds to sow. Sometimes with much love, we need to distance ourselves from them. So don't feel bad and don't judge yourselves for keeping the respect of yourself and your self-love at that higher, because well, one person, especially, I want to just use labels now, those energy vampires, they do not want to grow. They want to take your energy and they want to feel good as long as you can provide that higher frequency energy. I've seen this in a lot of spiritual gatherings and groups, especially, it doesn't even need to be physical. It's also on social media pages. Those people that aren't interested in growing at all, want to hear everyone's information and not really apply it, and they want to be the the complainers, the warriors, they don't ever want to grow. And when you give them opportunities to learn and experience things with a different perspective, how dare you? I am happy being miserable in my pity party, but I want everyone else to attend and feel sorry for me because, life is so hard. So they're everywhere, my friends. And while we can love them and try to help them going into their density, going into their fear and worry, and being concerned for their responsibility and their choices, we can learn and grow from that. So we just have to just check in with our intuition. What is their agendas here? Like if they're truly struggling and they really want to grow and expand and see things from the bigger perspective, that is us. We are there to help them, with freaking jazz hands all the way. But if they are not interested and they're very sure that they know everything and that everything is shit and nothing's good and we're all freaking doomed, make your choices. So anyway, what they also wanting me to say, I feel like they keep sidetracking me, so pardon me. I also use quite a lot of essential oils, and I never really sort of mentioned it because the brand I work with, the brand that I just buy and use, I don't like their marketing system. It is a multi-level marketing system, which I find incredibly obnoxious. I just want to buy good products and not have to be coerced into all sorts of other nonsense. So love the purity of their brands, of their products, love their products. Hate. Sorry, I just noticed my tongue is coffee flavored, so pardon me. Don't look at me, just listen if you want to. Anyway, still learning how to process and get over having to do these sessions and these conversations. So I'll get there. So anyway, with the essential oils, they're profound because they don't have any crap in them. They're very pure. And the smells trigger memory, the smells trigger frequency and vibration. And so a lot of these oils that I use and choose to go through really do help me with raising my frequency and being able to work that way. So they are definitely my tools. I know that I was adding a lot of belief systems into it, but I also know that it actually is factual, that it actually does do what it's saying. Well, they're not even promoting them how I would use them anyway, but I have this really fantastic emotional aromatherapy emotional book. God, what's wrong with my words? So anyway, again, I'm using someone else's belief systems about the emotional properties of certain oils. I find this whole thing fantastic. It's one of my nearly favorite subjects is to talk about the power of these oils. And, I really treat myself to lots of these oils and I use them in many, many, many ways. And part of my creativity, since I'm no longer not really inspired to do pottery as I once was. And so I am inspired to make lots of keto treats, but also to inspire to do bath bombs. I've been doing some shower mounts and now I'm doing some shower bombs and using these oils with them to empower my body. And I love putting these oils on my children, and there's some really good sleeping ones, some super fantastic grounding ones, super fantastic protection ones, and all this sort of stuff just for our moods. Because, we are trying to balance our moods, and sometimes we're in a new situation where things are, needing more support. While we aren't fully empowered, we are allowed to ask for support all the time. And if we are needing support and we're not asking, that is so hard. That is so hard. And so I have absolutely fallen in love with my oil collection, and I love them. And so are they a crutch for me? I did start getting into a routine where before I would channel, I would put frankincense in my tongue and, you know, sort of have that. And I maybe had like rolled it onto like my sort of my forehead and my sort of in this area here. I mean, why was I doing that? Because I thought that I started doing this little routine and it kind of worked. So I was like, right, well, let's just do everything I did last time to see if this is the key to it. And I would put spearmint on my throat because it's frankincense is the king of truth, the oil of truth, and then the spearmint is for speech, so empowerment of expression. So I would use these tools to give me the confidence and the frequency, the vibration to be able to do this and to just make me feel that I was getting more support. And then, of course, as soon as I would open up the channel, you know, they would be very happy and chat away. And I haven't been doing this as much as I used to. So I'm just sharing with you my personal journey. Because I love the smells, but I also feel like now I don't need those vibrations to get me up to where I should be able to channel, because I know I can channel and I could just ask. I'm almost like, because I haven't asked them directly, you know, am I better at channeling with these oils, or, you know, am I? And so this is sort of something I would kind of ask privately just to clarify, just to get their confirmation, their opinion of, you know, am I okay? Am I doing things right? What is your advice and support for me moving forward? How should I perceive this? And so I could, but this is embarrassing because I feel like they just want to give me lots of love right now. And I'm okay. I don't need their love message right now. I'm probably pushing it aside. And so I might do that privately. And I just sort of feel like I feel like just talking about myself and my journey just seems really stupidly self-indulgent, but they keep saying to me that this, you guys really resonate with this information because you've done this journey too. And so they're saying I'm not just speaking to myself, I'm actually having an open conversations to many, many, many other people at the same time. And so anyway, it's a journey. So I just have felt like I've had like this ridiculous amount, this really humbling amount of support from them. I mean, I always have it. This is the extraordinary thing about this work, is how much they profoundly love and support us. And it's their love and their support and their encouragement actually helped me grow my own love and empowerment of self. And it's quite astonishing, their level of love and their power of love, because before I felt their love, and they're so loving that my understanding and view and recall and memory of what love is so lacking of love. And not because I haven't, loved people and people haven't loved me. It is just our best 3D version of love versus their version and frequency and vibrations of love. It's extreme. It is extreme, and it always makes me cry and just want to break down because it's just so good. So good. And this is why so many people love these sessions and get addicted doing these sessions, to be in that frequency, because it's just a pleasure. And then when you're out of these sessions and you're living in 3D and being triggered by other 3D people, and it's just so much fun. It kind of, you dip down into it, and lots of people, and I especially, enjoy that higher perspective, that higher frequency so much. I will constantly try to only be in there. And unfortunately, sometimes me having to go and experience and confront people in the 3D who are very much in fear and have no idea of any other agenda apart from the ones that our mainstream media are beautifully coercing them into believing, I find it challenging. And and I can fully accept and respect them, but it also, it's hard. And I know you all know that. And so, you know, trying to apply the information that we get from sessions is always applicable. And I don't appreciate myself when I sort of throw that all to the wind, because this does not, my passion just is very intensive. And so I am very good at confronting people now about these things. And I don't quiver in my voice, and I don't get shy, and I don't back away. That was the old Joe. That was 100% the old Joe. But now the power of my voice and the stare that I have with people who are trying to have a conversation with me about why they should be in fear, or why they shouldn't do their inner work, or why they shouldn't understand spirituality, especially if those people, if we're in a setting, say like when we're in a spiritual group and people are trying to say to me, oh, well, I haven't done any of my inner work because I'm just new at this. And it's sort of like, well, when are you going to start? And then they're kind of like, oh, I don't know. Like, you know, life's just really hard right now. And, you know, I'm having a victim party mode. So anyway, so when you try to help people who are in spiritual groups and are not using any spiritual philosophies or mindsets and very much connected into 3D, they're just energy vampires, just wanting to be in amongst other spiritual people and doing spiritual activities, getting the high of that frequency of each other's energy, and then they don't want to do anything with it but just absorb it and keep it for themselves. They don't even want to inspire themselves to know how they can achieve that for themselves. They just want to lean on others and gobble up everyone else's energy. So, you know, that's a choice. And finally, what I want to share, you all truly are capable of being the powerhouses that you want. Everything that you are assuming other things are giving you, your crystals, your oils, your foods, your anything, those are assumptions that you need those support things. And while you're growing, yes, they're very valid. Absolutely. I'm not trying to say that they're not, but ultimately when you evolve and when you empower yourself truly and love yourself truly and have more connections with your teams, there's been many sessions about how to connect in with your teams. So it is about seriously just putting aside some time to be able to do it. You don't have to do mantras or meditations for hours on end. It is as simple. Surrender into it, give them your intentions, ask them the question, and allow them to give you the information. And then you honor and respect the senses they give you of the answers for your questions. It's very easy. But many people think for some whatever reason, because they've been told that they need to be wearing a lavender skivvy, a quartz crystal skivvy, and have their house lined in all sorts of things and sage and blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I just want to be ridiculous now, but you know what I mean? Revisit what your belief system is about. How do you connect in with your teams? Because they're like all at these call centers and they're waiting for you to pick up the phone. And I love that analogy. And I remember my subconscious sort of being cheeky with me, and I could sort of see him like on a switchboard, and you know, he's looking at all of the people he is being guides to, and he's also doing his own work. And you know, we'll do like a little ring buzzer and he'll just be like, yes, hello Joanne, what do you want today, kind of thing. And it's just it's obviously not the case at all, but if we just understand they're sitting there waiting for us, then, you know, let's give them some work. Let's use our free will to connect in with them, because they miss you. They want to connect in with you. They want to shower you with so much freaking love. You're like, okay, I get it. I'm lovable. And like, this is their boost. This is what they want. They want to share their energy with you. We are constantly trying to get energy and love from each other in the 3D, beautiful, cute, but when we know there are so many people that are hurt, and so they're focusing on their self wounds and they can't project out love to us, best that we don't distract them and try to drain them anymore. If they aren't able to give us love, it's not because there's something wrong with us, and it's not because they don't love us. It's because they're really overwhelmed with focusing on their own inner work. We can allow them to do that. We want to honor them for doing that. So our best next option, if we're needing to strengthen and empower ourselves, is to call on our teams and be able to just get the reassurance that we need. So in terms of asking about the oils, because I think I'm going to ask them about the oils. Because I think it was a belief system that I was starting to get into a routine with. Okay. Yes, we are here, we are here, we are here. And we also wanted to remind you that you also added a lot of fluid and weight onto your body at the time where you were starting to fully emerge into channeling, because you also needed to have as much maximum expansion of frequency of vibration within your own personal body to be able to advance to the levels that you wanted to get to, that we also wanted to give you access to. The more you did your own personal sessions as a client, you opened up that window of communication for us, and we love that. Because you have been very helpful to be of service. And so your question to us today was about the oils. And yes, that was helpful because it helped you trust into your capabilities. You trusted the oils. You knew from your experiences with the use of the other oils that there was something more to them than just pretty smells. You didn't quite know what the frequency was or the energy, but they were containing higher frequency that was giving you an advantage point. And so this was helpful to you. And we are so glad that you took our guidance and being able to trust that this brand and these oils were good for you, and you now know the difference between a diluted oil and a tampered oil, because you have finally attuned your senses. Smell is a very important smell, and yet with so many things that are in your environment, so many cleaning products, for example, really erode a lot of your frequency. And there are many people who clean regularly with these low frequency smells, which is of course part of what we would consider a darker agenda to poison and kill your sense of smell. Because this is part of an important sense, is your smell. And one that is mostly overlooked by we want to say common folk, but this is not the right terminology. Those people who are just living life in routine and not questioning all. So there is significance in fine-tuning your smell and senses, because you are more finely attuned. And so you know that certain perfumes as well are very pungent and almost a negative intoxicating smell. You smell that at supermarkets, and you smell that at stores, and it really negatively affects you in irritability. And we're saying, yes, it's like a negative, the smell of those perfumes that are quite We're trying to find the most appropriate word. We are not finding the most appropriate word to be able to say what the impact and the emotional triggers of smelling someone's very intensive perfume that triggers them into a, not into a negative spiral, but a disdain. Energetically, it disturbs your focus, it disturbs clarity in mind. And this is something you might want to explore more. Interesting, we actually block a lot of other people's smells from you, as we know that this is part of a disempowerment agenda. And so we are glad that we could share this information with you. This is another example of how much we do to protect you through your days. And we protect you quite regularly from smell. Sometimes we allow you to smell others to kind of avoid them energetically. But that is for another conversation. So smell is a very powerful sense, and we're glad that we keep pushing you to discuss this with us today, as we knew you keep dismissing this and keep questioning what is the significance here. Then we want to reassure you and to confirm to those viewers who are also listening, who understand the messages that they are being given by us. Many people they cannot believe the coincidences of what they were just thinking about just earlier on, and here it is now us speaking about it. And so we're constantly prompting you to grow individually yourselves. And this is the clarification. This is the confirmation that you are getting with your senses, because we are finally attuning many people who are listening to these sessions, listening to this information, their own intuition. And you are doing so well. So many are doing so well because they are noticing the consistencies. They are noticing the coincidences. How funny, I was just thinking this myself. And this is us prompting you to think these things, for then you now to have confirmation that you are in alignment and you are starting to be attuned to our information, and you're starting to notice it and allow this information to come through. So we are more than proud of all of you, because you are doing such a good job. We know how extraordinary these times are, and we wanted to confirm how all of this truly while the lessons are great in terms of the great expansion and experiences, and all of these lessons have purpose and will not ever be forgotten, what is happening to you and your planet is so unnecessary from our perspective. And this has been something that we have struggled with and wanted to help with so much more, because we see all the density, we see all of those people stuck in trauma, and there is virtually almost nothing we can do to help them, as they are not helping themselves. They're not using their free will, and they are looping in a very dark and dense mindset. And there's not much growth when they are looping in that density. And so we are having to trigger them into more density for them to suddenly start seeking help. We thank you all for those who are helping, those who are starting to find themselves out of this darkness. We would just like to confirm that we are all looking forward to this evolutionary shift. It has to occur, and we understand that many of you are impatient. And we can understand that because we also have other things that we would like to get on with as well. And so often you're feeling our own frustrations, and it is not always our frustrations with you. Often when you are seeing someone in a very dark, dense mindset who's refusing to grow, you're actually feeling their own subconscious telling you and agreeing with you. It almost seems like they have given up, and it is frustrating. And so their own subconscious is pushing you to give them those seeds, to give them that love, to give them that inspiration, to give that empowerment. We're all in this together. While we are in different dimensions, all working together for the same results, to empower all through these lessons and experiences. We wanted to take this time today to thank and honor all who can be of service. And as we have said, we are waiting and we're always willing to help you. You simply need to use your free will to want to connect in with us. And we say this with so much love. Okay, I should get some tissues down here, I think. Pardon me. Okay, I love you guys, and big group hug. Congratulations to all those people who have been noticing what has been in their own mindsets, and then suddenly they're hearing it again in sessions. That seems very, very fantastic to have that confirmation that it is them. So how lovely and wonderful. Once again, they're just constantly showing us that they're always here for us. They're always for us. And they are so clever with their approaches to get our attention, to get us to be able to recognize their messages of love, their messages of guidance. And this is extraordinary times. I love the heck out of you so much. So thank you so much for being here with me on this journey. I am truly humbled to be of service.